Good. There we
Good
go.
morning.
Hey,
Uh,
hey, party people. Boom, boom. Whoop, there it is. That's what I'm talking about. We got 90
Sounds like
seconds.
Matt's in the mood.
Uh-oh. What up, Tess? Oh boy. All right. Hey, it's 9 o'clock. Let's kick it. Who's got something awesome to celebrate? Can we take a second and talk about that statement victory this weekend? Oh, so good. Anyways, like I said on my post, it might have been against the second string, and that's okay. It's good to see. We still got the mojo.
Well, my two listing appointments I had Friday, I got those secured. So I've got two new listings coming. And the deal on Friday that closed that we weren't sure was going to close closed. And then I had another seller reach out to me who's not happy with their agent and is going to give them one more chance. And if not, they're listing with me.
Oh,
What?
guess who can't say they're new anymore? Like at all ever.
Me,
Right.
me, I'm still in my first year.
There's
So
people
I'm
that have been
still
doing this
new.
for 4 years that haven't had this much business.
Yeah,
And they want to tell you that, "Oh, I've been doing this for 4 years." Yeah, cool.
That's
Nice
fair.
flex, man. Nice flex. Nice job. Anyone else? Other wins?
just a good, relaxing weekend. Ready to kick off the week and kind of.
Were you getting like
Oh,
needles or cupping or what was it? What were you doing? You getting like saged? Did you get like energy work? What was that?
oh, Reiki. I can't even say. So my my daughter's boyfriend's mom owns a massage therapy place. And I said to her the other day, I was talking to him about some of the different modalities they use, and I'm like, you guys should make some videos. Anyway, we did a trade. There, I got like a facial and some Reiki and some other things so to create video content for them. It's a pretty cool thing.
I was like, "Woo, what is that?"
I got all my energy, all my
Going
chakras cleared.
super deep into the woo woo.
Oh, it'll be go real deep next week when I go to Scottsdale and we're doing breath work in the
Oh, you go into Scottsdale. That place is built on crystals.
uh-huh.
An EMF buzz saw.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a whole new person.
We won't even know. Transcendent being. Turn S. All right. Anyone else? All right. So let's go. Let's kick it. Let's get this thing going. You can tell like when I've had an opportunity to go to the gym. I get that. Right. Peggy already said. Matt's on it. And yet, um, I don't like okay. I don't have like a presentation, if you will. Yet I have a question. And I wanted to pose it to you because I had a friend of mine posted something. I thought it was a great question. And I shared a perspective in it. And yet I'm really curious. Whoa, whoa, mute. Where? Oh, did he delete it?
Did you delete that? Are you talking to yourself?
No, I'm looking for his post because I didn't want to paraphrase the question incorrectly.
Oh,
1 second. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. This is your Mindset Monday question, and we're going to have a little bit of a mastermind around this. And so I would love everyone's perspective because this is a question that you're likely asking yourself often, and um, would love to hear it. Right. So, question: how do you know when something needs to change versus needs to be endured? How do you know the difference between when something needs to change or something needs to be endured? I thought it was a fantastic question. And it made me stop and think a little bit, right? Great questions create pause. You want to write that down, right? Great questions create pause. And this question, I was like, oh, because then I'd formulate an answer, and I'm like, well, caveat, huh? Asterisk, huh? Not, yeah, I don't know, right? And so for those that just jumped on the call, we're talking about I introduced a question that someone proposed online, and this is a great Mindset Monday topic, and it's who can rephrase the question for me because I just closed my screen. Who can say it
How do
for
you
Cassie?
know when to, what was it?
So the
How do
question
you know
is,
when something needs to be changed versus endured?
there
Okay.
you go. How can you tell? How do you know when something needs to be changed versus simply endured? When's it time to pivot? And when's the time to put your head down and just grind through? This is a hugely important question, especially when it comes to mindset, right? So I'd love to get everyone's take on it. What's your feelings around this? And it's okay if you say something and then like 5 minutes later you're like, "Can I edit that?" Cuz it's going to be really interesting to see what everyone says around this. What are your thoughts?
For me personally, I have like, well, we talk a lot about like our board of directors, right? Like if it's business related, having people to bounce things off of, but also have like a therapist and some really good trusted friends. I struggle. I don't know how these people are breaking through my do not disturb. I struggle with recognizing or being able to identify if something is truly something that I need to step away from, or if it's my anxiety tripping me up, right? It's just getting difficult. I've got some fear. And so sometimes, I mean, it all starts with like meditation and journaling and really digging deep into, is this fear or is this intuition telling me I need to step away? So that's kind of thing one, is getting very clear on it with like journaling and those kind of things, and then bouncing it off of the people that I know and trust, and just throwing it out there and getting a different perspective to help me think through it.
Okay. So what happens if you're at odds with your counsel?
If what? Sorry.
What happens if you are intuitively at odds with your counsel?
Intuitively at odds. Like my counsel, I feel it's
So your trusted
oh,
advisors are saying, "Hey, this is just blank, just go." And you're like, I don't know.
yeah,
Or they say, "You know what? Cut it and run and do X." And
yeah.
you're like, like, so how do you know?
How do you know? Well, I think ultimately it's about getting to know yourself and getting clarity on like understanding yourself and really listening to your gut and your intuition. For me, that's like, what does it make your body feel when you say something about that? So if I say, let's say I think I need to make a career change. And I'm trying to identify, is it because I'm super stressed and just afraid to do the things I need to do? Or is it truly that I don't feel like I'm passionate about this anymore? If I truly sit down in a quiet space and say, okay, I'm going to leave this business, right? What does that make me feel? Where do I feel that in my body? There's different, this sounds really cheesy. This is getting real woo woo here, but like there's different parts of my body where I know, like if it's in my shoulder and my neck and I get tight and that's usually anxiety. That's usually like something more. If it's in my core, in my gut, I can't breathe, then I know that's my intuition.
Okay. So for those that jumped on a little later, we I proposed a question that was posted online, and the question was, "How do you know when something needs to be changed versus simply endured?" And this, I paused. It was a great question. So I, today's conversation is a workshop. I want to get everyone's. I want your gut take, and then I'd love for you to consider some thoughts around it. Right?
I'm
When's the
with
last time you were?
Michelle.
What's
Oh,
that?
go ahead.
No,
I'm
you
with
go.
Michelle. Like literally exactly how she said it. If it is
If it's just stress, if it's some stuff that I just know that I need to push through and just get done, it's my neck, it's my back, it's a headache, it's like more in my chest. But if it is like, okay, something's not right and I need to make a change, I need to do something different, I'm in a situation that's not right, it's my stomach. It's it every time, every single time. That's, and I also 100% believe that emotions show up physically in your body as well. And that's literally exactly how Michelle put it, is how I feel in those situations.
So then the question that just comes up with that, because I'm always trying to like also counter my own thoughts and feelings is, have my emotions been infallible? Have my instincts and my gut ever been wrong? And if there's ever been a time that's been wrong, is that something that I can count on 100%? Is that am I talking about an internal judgment versus an external judgment? So again, not an answer. I'm just those are the next question that I ask myself then, because I've hired people based on intuition and been wrong, and then I've also gone against my intuition and it was the right thing. My intuition would have led me down a very horrible path, right? And yet logic won, and then so again, great questions, great questions. Anyone else? Other thoughts? Who wants to jump in? How do you
Um,
navigate?
I think like a lot of it, I think you have to evaluate whether it's something that you can actually change, versus like, I mean, even if it's like, kind of goes against like like if something goes against your values or whatever, that might be a time that you absolutely like need to make a change. I mean, maybe a situation or a person or something is toxic, so you need to like, make a change. Like I said, you have to, I think, feel out the situation and see whether or not it's something that you can actually change, and if it's worth the effort to change, or if it's something you just kind of need to deal with for like a season. It's funny too that you brought this up, because my husband and I were at a marriage retreat with our church this weekend, and the guy was like talking about I think it was actually Harvard studied like 1,700 and something couples that had lasted over 35 years. And they said that the common thing was basically the couples just said they just put up with each other. Is really so they endured, like it was worth it for them. They just accepted that the people were who they were, and they did not try to change the person. So they weren't trying to change the situation of who they were. They just like accepted them. And because nobody's perfect. And so like I think you have to, like, a lot of times, and it really just depends on what it is. Like you might have a toxic client that is just worth getting through the transaction and just deciding that you're done with them after, like after that one's over, or, whether it's something that you want to continue to put, like work into. I think it's just every different situation. Like work's going to be different than your personal life and things.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure. There's when I responded, I said, okay, this is one perspective of one facet of a diamond,
Hmm.
because this question has a myriad of application. And
Hmm.
so, how do I, in the moment, regardless of which direction, angle, which, wavelength I'm approaching, what the question, I guess the question is like, do you have a framework for this roadblock? How do you intellectually and emotionally navigate a choice point? Right. And so I think you bring up a great point, Brooke. Number one is, can my efforts actually change the scenario? So is the environment, the scenario, etc., the issue? And if that's the case, number one, do I have the authority and the ability through my actions to change it? And then the question even before that is, on a scale of 1 to 10, can I unequivocally,
Yeah.
can I say that I've done my efforts
Mm.
to the best of my ability? Have I put in everything I can for whatever period of time, right? I know we always go back to like control the controllables. So what can I control? I can control my attitudes, I can control my effort, I can control my energy, right? I can control my energy, my attitude, and my effort. If the appropriate energy and effort, and I have matched authority to be able to elicit change, and it's still not changing, that may be then something worth changing versus just enduring. Or like what's on the other side, right? I remember I had an opportunity, I had a job where I'd quickly run through the ranks. In order for me to take the next role, two things had to happen. I either had to move to a different part of the country or someone had to die because there were no other roles. So either my supervisor had to die or retire, which they weren't going to, or I had to move to Ohio. So what do? Do you hope for someone to die or retire, or do you have to make a change? In that specific scenario, that was the kind of the question and the choice point that I had to make, right? So what are some of the other ways and frameworks are you looking at it when you're faced with the choice point? Endure, discipline, consistency, hustle, grit, or choice point, leave, move, change.
Well, like when I got into real estate, I knew that I needed to make a change off of what I was doing before because I was really unhappy. Like I felt very stuck. I didn't have any more ability to like grow in the field that I was in. And versus just because I guess for me, I looked ahead to the next few years and was like, am I still going to be happy doing this like in a few years? And I was like, no. So I mean, it was a really clear answer for me. But I think a lot of times I will endure things like way longer than I should. So I've been trying to have a better boundary with that because I will
Does that
just
make you happy?
no, no, it
Okay.
does not make me happy at all. Like that's why I'm laughing about it because it's so uncomfortable because it makes it I wish I didn't endure as much as I do, but I've started to learn to like reflect a little bit more on it and try to figure out like does this actually even have like a purpose for why I'm like, is there actually even an end in sight like, to this? Or am I just gonna like, am I gonna keep on doing this and nothing's ever going to change eventually
Yeah, yeah.
also like, I guess if there's like a lesson and everything in it as well
Oh
but
yeah.
the but the big thing is if there's like a purpose to it like am I just putting up with this? Like I was talking to everybody about it when on the Fridays, like we have these occupancy inspections in St. Louis and we're dealing with, I mean, I don't know what St. Louis County is doing right now, but they're like cracking down on everything. And I've got them having me pull like whole house integrated permits on people's houses and things like, I mean, it's something that like, am I going to quit selling in St. Louis County because, they're doing all this, or am I going to endure it? Well, I'm going to endure it.
That's so for those of you that are taking notes, right? Like right now, you're getting a really great list of questions to develop your own personal framework for this, right? And Brooke said another one. Number one, right? Is this an unmovable circumstance in my industry? Right? Something I can't do. Like you can't change like that entire situation. And so what's interesting is the other question is, well, do I want to keep selling real estate? Because this isn't very fun having to deal with this. But the thing is, everyone's dealing with it. So what's really interesting is just simply by enduring, you become the top 1% because everybody else is going to quit. Those that aren't really looking to do it. Right. So that's a really interesting thing. Right. Is my endurance going to actually elevate me into a rare group? That's worth looking at and exploring. Right. Think about the pain or the fear of change versus the constant and low grade discomfort of enduring only because the fear of the unknown is greater than just the slow soul rotting of endurance. And I choose my words very specifically. And I want to make sure you guys hear it because some of you like put perfume on poop by staying put because afraid of change. And then you know, you can only do that for so long, right?
I guess I kind of have a bit of a different perspective on it because I think of it more like how much regret am I going to have if I give up on this versus
Mhm.
just seeing it through?
Super
Like, am
valid.
I going to, am I going
Yeah,
to feel peace or am I going to be mad at myself for the next 3 months?
super valid. Then the question is 3 months later, now what?
Yeah, that's why I said like I endure too long. I think because I don't want to regret things, but that's why I've started to look at it in the framework of like, am I still going to be happy in this situation in another year or two or whatever? Because I'm the
Love
same
it.
way as you.
Yeah. So when you put a deadline on endurance, just to put yourself in the position of like, okay, I'm not going to quit when it's hard. I'm gonna push through. And if nothing's better in 3 months, that'll be my sign. And then 3 months later, same. Now what?
Mhm.
That so all these I love this conversation the way it's playing out. This is gonna be a good recording to go back through and put together your bullet point outline.
hmm So for me, it's more of I think about pretty much everything I do, like I think through it before I actually do it. And so for me, really,
You're probably one of the most contemplative people that I've ever met as far as being able to map out all scenarios.
yeah. And so for me, the point where I get to thinking about the change, I know like at that point I need to change because I've
When you
thought
get to that
about
point,
what's gonna happen. Yeah, what's gonna happen, or and so I know. You can call it enduring, but I've already mapped out this route, so I know like this is what I expect to happen. And so yeah, if I ever get to a point where I'm doing something and the thought of should I change this, if that ever pops up, then I know right then, okay, like I need to start thinking about the change and what that's going to look like. And then I won't make that change until it makes sense to me again, right? Whatever that changes. So I'm gonna be in this rut, and I know Matt, you've helped me, through this, but I'm gonna be in the rut until again the decision or whatever I come up with makes sense, for me to then change and go down that route. But that's how I operate.
there was a writer once wrote, the only difference between a rut and a grave is the depth. Dum dum dum. Good. I love this. Love this. What else? What else comes to mind? Who wants to just push back on something? What's your perspective? What's your point? You're like, but no, this, because I'm not tied to any of this. This is just a fun conversation.
Yeah. It also makes me think of I think it was Alex Hermosi said it, and I heard it earlier this year, and it kind of reflects a lot. And then he said something, it's along the lines of like nothing is really hard. It's just like your perception or expectation of like what it takes to complete that was just
Uh-huh.
line or like out
The
of bounds.
your timeline was off, right?
Right. Yeah. Something was
Yeah.
just like it's not, yeah. So that like thinking of that and when I come up against things that could be challenging or maybe thinking of enduring it, then it does make me think again, like, okay, did I think this was gonna be easier or like am I really enduring through this or is this just, what it takes to get to whatever?
Yeah. I mean, a real estate, someone in real estate said, every real estate investment is a home run in 15 years. There's not one bad deal that doesn't look amazing 15 years from today, right? This might be my favorite call this year. So good.
I know I love how it just started like one way, and then as you've been talking, everybody else has been talking, it got me thinking a different way too. Like
Oh yeah, you're ready to throw your gut away?
No, I'm not ready to throw my gut away. In fact, when you first said, "Has your intuition ever led you wrong?" I wanted to bark back and say, well, if it led you wrong, then it wasn't your intuition. You were listening to something other than your intuition.
That's
Um,
fair.
yeah, which don't get me wrong, I do agree. Sometimes your intuition can lead you the wrong way too, just based on your past programming. But I just think it's really interesting the spin this has taken on. We've just gone like a whole all over the
Oh,
place, deep thinking, and it really gets you just like questioning, oh, am I doing things correctly? Is there a better way to process things?
well, like correct, like what's correct?
Yeah.
Like, and so like that qualifier, I like, ooh,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that it's like a warning qualifier because I don't know if there's a correct. Like it's because everything's like I don't know what's right for you, and I know what's right for me. And so when faced with something like this, I think having a framework, right? Like, and so like for instance, when faced with these choice points, I always go back to core value. I always have my three core values front and center. And the thing is that when you start an opportunity, it may be in alignment, but then I mean, everything's dynamic. We don't live in a static universe. Like companies change, roles change, your involvement or your perspective in an organization or the market changes, and you can say, you know, a year ago, this was all green flags. And right now I'm seeing some yellows pop up. And then every so often, like boom, a red, and but it's brief, and you go, do I just need to endure this, or are these enough of a violation of my core values for me to consider something else? Right? And so like you could start and everything is in alignment and perfect. And then and so like I gotta ask myself, and that's one of them, is okay, is it still in alignment with my core values? And if it is, then okay, I may just need to endure. And then the question is have I put in the effort that's required? Am I giving myself, Ramil, enough timeline bandwidth to expect a certain result appropriately? You know, is it reasonable for me to expect X, Y, and Z based on the time that's been put in? Um, and then all the other questions that we have, right? But then, like the other side of it, then what was it? That my thoughts are all over the place. I'm thinking like 600 miles an hour right now. Um, then the other side is in negotiation, what's the most powerful negotiating tool that you have?
Well, I would say that it's knowing what the other person wants. Like if you know, like, do you get what I'm saying? Like if you know,
It's walking away.
oh,
The most powerful negotiating tool is no, I'm out. Nope. No, thank you. Here's my offer. Here's my energy. Here's my intention. Here's my loyalty. And if it's not met, thank you. I'm gonna go and move.
Detachment from the outcome.
Detachment from the outcome or the result. And so many of us get real stuck on that side. Now, flip side, double-edged sword, is that also a lack like what's like can that also be used prematurely or as a disguise or a mask for a resistance to mastery or like yes and so then like there's in my mind if I'm looking at a flow chart like question yes no if yes then here then da, 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 four choices if one here then do this and then do this and then, like I have in my mind this flow chart of decision choice points with something like this that I'm going through where I just I feel like a question like this isn't as simple as is it in my shoulder or is it in my stomach? Because even in those two things, it's also nine things
Yeah.
and then 12 things. I think it's way like super nuanced and I think it's really helpful to be able to then say, okay, if it's here, and I love that you're like you've isolated, okay, is it anxiety or is it intuition? But is it intuition? Okay, what has generally caused my intuition to fire in the past? And is it because it goes against my core values? Is it red flags versus green flags? Is it, do I feel like other people are no longer like what, like there's, what are the other experiences? And is this that as opposed to the stress? And the stress is often fear, like out of integrity, not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or not like, or doing the wrong thing, like avoidance. Like for me, the stress has always been activity based, and the gut feeling has always been not woo woo, but more values based.
I think with each of those things, you have to ask yourself layers of questions too. Like
Yeah.
I'm not, when I feel that gut intuition thing, it's not, oh, okay, I immediately need to drop everything, go do something different. I have to analyze it like, okay, what part of this am I not feeling great about? Is it the whole thing? Is it one specific portion of it? Is it a person? Is it maybe it's I need to have a hard conversation with someone. I have to go through and just ask a lot of questions. I don't just, it's not just an immediate, okay, I'm done, or I need to move or shift. And same on the anxiety thing too. Like if it's up here, like what am I so anxious about? Is it because I haven't blocked enough time to get my stuff done? Is it because there's lack of understanding? Like there's so many questions. Otherwise, gosh, I would be just bouncing around to different things all the time instead of okay, I just need to shift this one little thing and it's okay now.
Yeah.
Even last week, like when it was Friday when the three of us were talking, and
Mhm.
Matt, you and I talked at two about a situation and trying to figure out things, and I had been having a feeling in my stomach, but I was having to ask my questions like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Talked it through with you, talked it through with Michelle. Then as soon as I made a decision, that was gone.
Mhm.
But I had to talk through multiple times for weeks now the different potential scenarios. And now I feel so much better. But I had to ask a lot of questions and figure out what it was exactly, like isolate the thing that my intuition was like, hey, something's not right here.
Yeah. I'm going to challenge you guys on this call. I know we're at time, is to take this question. And I would say start mapping out your own personal flow chart, if you will, on how to go through and like interrogate uh, the feeling in the question. Right. And then just keep digging deeper and ask yourself like a couple power questions around that. And then, yeah, cool. All right. Thanks for coming, guys. Happy Monday. Go Chiefs. Bye.
Hi.